Edgar Cayce made a specific prediction about February of 2026 that completely changes everything we think we know about January's intensity. He called it the month of miracles, but not the kind of miracles you're thinking of. I'm Landria Onkka, and I have been studying Cayce's readings. This particular prophecy is one of the most misunderstood and one of the most important because what Cayce saw coming in February 2026 isn't just about external events. It's about a fundamental shift in how reality itself operates. It's only for those who've prepared correctly. Now, if you're watching this before February, it's not too late to do that. And here's what most people miss. February's miracles are the reward for surviving January's intensity. But that's not a bad thing. Go watch the January predictions. They're connected. You can't have one without the other. So in this video, I'm breaking down the 4 specific shifts Cayce predicted for February of 2026. Why they're only accessible to certain people. Yep, we're talking about frequencies here, dimensions, different realities, and what you need to do right now in this month to position yourself for what he called the greatest opportunity in 2,000 years. This is exciting stuff because if you miss this window, Cayce said the next opportunity like this won't come again in our lifetime. You ready? Let's go. Remember when we used to do this every morning? Welcome to Landria on YouTube. I'm here to help you break through fear and live an amazing life and raise the frequency of the planet, as are you. I have all kinds of tools for you to do that. So before we get into February's 4 shifts, you need to understand why Cayce structured the timeline this way. In his readings, Cayce talked about something he called the purification before the elevation, and he was very specific. You cannot access February's miracles without going through January's intensity first. Think of it like this. January 2026 is the pressure that creates the diamond. February is when that diamond catches the light. Both necessary and beautiful processes. So before we get started, I hope that you will subscribe, like, because I have more predictions and we're going to get very intense today. You're going to want to hear this. Also, if you are struggling with money, with abundance, with your mindset, I have Mind Over Money, a free quiz to figure out what your archetype is. What are you doing to self-sabotage yourself? Go in the description. That's for free. Landria.com, free inspiration. Let's get your mindset in order. I've got new stuff coming out for you. And Digital Explorers, would you like to earn money doing something purposeful? That's what we do. I have a free webinar for you also. We have all kinds of tools to get ready for this coming new amazing era. So let's get started. Cayce said that in January, everything that's been hidden will surface. Old patterns, unresolved trauma, fear-based beliefs, fear-based, I can help you with that. They all come up at once. And for most people, this feels overwhelming. But here's what Cayce saw. The people who leaned into that intensity instead of resisting it, those are the ones who emerge in February with completely different capabilities. He called them the prepared ones. And in his readings, he was very clear. February 2026 is when the prepared ones start operating at a level that seems miraculous to everyone else. But it's not magic. It's the natural result of doing the inner work in November, December, and January. If you want my free guide on exactly how to navigate these energy shifts, I've put together a comprehensive resource that walks you through the preparation steps month by month. You can grab that at landriaonka.com, free inspiration. Look in your email and you'll get that free guide. The link is in the description below. So what are these 4 shifts Cayce predicted for February? Let's start with the first one. Collective consciousness awakening. We talk a lot about this. It gets more intense. It shifts into what we call the tipping point. He said that in February 2026, something he called the veil of separation begins to thin dramatically. Now, he wasn't talking about some abstract spiritual concept. He meant something very practical, actually quite scientific. The ability to sense what others are thinking and feeling becomes commonplace. This is all frequency, vibrational. If you're familiar with Tesla, you know this. Everything comes down to the frequency, and you have control over yours. In his readings, he described it like this. In the month following the great intensity, those who have eyes to see will suddenly see into the hearts of others. Deception becomes impossible. Truth becomes intangible. This is where the corruption cannot continue. And this is where it gets really interesting. Cayce predicted that in February of 2024, you'll start noticing that you know things about people before they tell you. You'll walk into a room and immediately sense the emotional energy. You'll think of someone and they'll text you within minutes. That will accelerate. But here's the key. This isn't happening to everyone, but it includes everyone if they want to participate. Cayce said this ability only activates in people who've cleared their own emotional blocks in January. So you are invited. If you're still carrying unresolved fear, anger, or resentment in February, you'll experience this shift as overwhelming anxiety. You'll pick up everyone's emotions, but won't be able to distinguish them from your own. That doesn't always feel good, right? But if you've done the clearing work, February becomes the month when you step into what Cayce called Christ consciousness, the ability to see and feel the interconnectedness of all things. And practically speaking, this means you'll know instantly whether someone is trustworthy. Not coming from your own fears, this is why we have to separate those, but from pure intuition. You'll sense opportunities before they're visible to others. We do that a lot in my trainings. You'll feel guided toward the right people and situations. You'll experience synchronicities daily, not occasionally. Cayce said this is the first miracle of February, the awakening of collective consciousness in the prepared ones. But that's just the beginning. The second shift is the physical reality becomes malleable. Now, this second shift is the one that sounds the most out there, but Cayce was incredibly specific about it. He said that in February 2026, the laws of physical reality begin to respond differently to consciousness, but again, only for those who are prepared. So in his readings, he described it like this: when the heart and mind align in the month of miracles, matter itself responds. Boom. What was once solid becomes fluid. What was once impossible becomes inevitable. So what does this actually look like? Cayce predicted that in February, you'll start noticing that your thoughts manifest into physical reality much faster than before. And I'm not talking about vague law of attraction stuff. I'm talking about specific, measurable changes. I have shared with you that as of this video, it's happening now. For example, you'll think about needing help with something, and within hours, someone offers exactly that help. You'll visualize a specific outcome, and circumstances align to make it happen within days. You hold a clear intention, and obstacles that seem immovable suddenly dissolve. How cool is that? But you got to do the work. Now, here's what Cayce warned about. This shift is neutral. It responds to whatever consciousness you're holding. You know, the universe doesn't judge. It just says yes. If you're holding fear-based thoughts in February, those will manifest just as quickly as love-based thoughts. You can manifest a castle just as easily as a button. The universe doesn't judge. This is why the January purification is so critical. You'll need to clear the fear before February amplifies everything. So Cayce said the prepared ones will use February to create what he called the new earth experience, a life aligned with their highest purpose, surrounded by the right people, doing work that matters. But those who haven't cleared their blocks will experience February possibly as chaos, their fears manifesting rapidly, their old patterns intensifying, their reality feeling increasingly unstable. The difference isn't the energy itself. The difference is what you've prepared your consciousness to hold. And this is why I tell you that those in lower frequencies will become more intensely fierce and chaotic, and those who rise above will experience this beautiful February shift. So let's talk about the third shift, time perception changes. I've already experienced that. This third shift is one that Cayce talked about extensively, and it's something I've personally experienced in my own spiritual journey. He said that in February 2026, linear time begins to collapse for the awakened ones. Now, what does that mean practically? Cayce described it as the ability to exist in multiple timelines simultaneously. And before you think that sounds too mystical, let me explain what this actually looks like in daily life. In February, you'll start experiencing what Cayce called time pockets, moments where hours feel like minutes or minutes feel like hours. You will have experiences of deja vu that are so strong you know that you've lived this moment before. You'll also start receiving information about future events before they happen, not vague intuitions, specific, detailed knowing about what's coming. Cayce said this happens because in February 2026, the energetic structure that keeps us locked into linear time begins to loosen, right? Our frequency is rising, the dimensions, the frequencies and vibrations are all changing. And for those who've prepared, this creates an incredible advantage. Not that we're looking to have an advantage over somebody else, but I know you're ready for this. You'll be able to sense which decisions lead to which outcomes before you make them. Access information from your future self about what you need to know now. I actually do that training in Mind Over Money. The course, we actually create the higher self that we consult. It's very powerful. Recognize patterns and cycles that others can't see. Make choices based on multidimensional awareness, not just current circumstances. You're going to see way past it. But again, Cayce warned, if you're not grounded in your body and present in the moment, this shift will feel disorienting. You'll experience it as confusion, memory problems, or feeling spacey. The key is to stay anchored in your physical body while allowing your consciousness to expand. That's the balance, Cayce said, is essential for February. So the fourth shift, heart-based manifestation activates. Oh yeah, now it's about time. Now we come to what Cayce called the greatest shift of all, the activation of heart-based manifestation. By the way, this is my mushroom coffee. No, not those kind of mushrooms. In his readings, he was very clear. February 2026 is when the heart chakra becomes the primary creator center, replacing the mind. This is powerful. And here's what he meant. For thousands of years, humanity has created through mental will, through thinking, planning, forcing, controlling, and that method is exhausting. It's why so many people feel burned out. But Cayce predicted that in February 2026, a new way of creating becomes available, creation through heart coherence. He described it like this. When the heart speaks, the universe listens. When the heart desires, reality responds. When the heart knows, manifestation is instant. And practically, this means that in February, the things you create from genuine heart desire will manifest almost effortlessly. But the things you're trying to force through mental will, those will hit wall after wall. We call that ego-based, low frequency. This is the universe's way of teaching us the new operating system. I love that. So in February, you'll notice projects that align with your heart's truth flow easily. Relationships that resonate with your authentic self appear naturally. Opportunities that match your soul's purpose find you without effort. Resistance shows up when you're operating from ego instead of heart. Cayce said this shift, it's permanent. Isn't that amazing? Once heart-based manifestation activates in February, it becomes your new default way of creating. You can't go back. We don't want to. But, and this is crucial, you have to choose it. That's the whole purpose of the game. You have to consciously shift from mental force to creating through heart alignment. Gotta let it go. And that choice point happens in February of 2026. Now let's talk about how to prepare besides having your mushroom coffee. So good. So here's what you need to do between now and February to position yourself for these four shifts. First, clear your emotional blocks. If you're seeing this in November, December, clear them now. Cayce was adamant about this. December is the preparation month. This is when you need to identify and release any fear, resentment, anger, or grief you've been carrying. Because whatever emotional baggage you're holding in December will be amplified in January and block your access to February's miracles. Practically, this means journaling, therapy if you need it, energy work, forgiveness practices, whatever modality works for you, but do the work. Don't skip this step. Second, practice staying present in your body during January's intensity. Don't try to escape anything. Hit it head on. There's never anything to fear. When January 2026 hits and everything feels overwhelming, your instinct will be to disassociate, to check out, to numb yourself. Don't. You've been warned now. You know what's coming, so prepare for it. Cayce said the people who stay present and grounded during January's intensity are the ones who emerge in February with the strongest connection to these new abilities. That includes you. So practice now. Meditation, breath work, walking in nature, anything that helps you stay anchored in your physical body while processing intense emotions. Things like fasting, detoxing your environment, watching what you're eating, and watching what you're consuming, your purchases. Third, clarify your heart's true desires before February arrives. Now, this is critical. February's heart-based manifestation will create whatever your heart truly wants, not what your ego thinks you should want, not what society tells you to want, but what your soul genuinely desires. So pay attention. So between now and February, get clear. What does your heart actually want? What would you create if you knew you couldn't fail? What brings you genuine joy, not just temporary pleasure? Write it down. Get specific. And by the way, yes, it can be abundance because in February, the universe will be listening to your heart's frequency and it will deliver exactly what you're broadcasting. Fourth, build your support system now. Cayce said that the prepared ones would need to support each other through this transition. February shifts can feel isolating if you're experiencing them alone. So find your people now. Connect with others who are on this path. Join communities, attend gatherings, build relationships with people who understand what you're going through. I'm going to open up a new miracle circle. And if you're interested, go to landria.com free inspiration. I'll be announcing that, and we congregate every month. I want to invite you into that because in February, you'll need witnesses, people who can confirm that, yes, this is real. Yes, you're not going crazy. Yes, we're all experiencing this together. So here's what I want you to understand. Edgar Cayce didn't predict February 2026 as some distant abstract event. We're coming up on all this stuff. He saw it as a tangible opportunity that's available to anyone willing to do the preparation work. It includes you. The month of miracles isn't about sitting back and waiting for magic to happen. It's about clearing your blocks, staying present through intensity, and aligning your consciousness with your heart's truth. And if you do that work between now and February, Cayce said you'll experience a level of manifestation ability, intuitive clarity, and synchronistic flow that will feel absolutely miraculous. How cool would that be? But it requires choice. It requires commitment. It requires starting now. So my question for you is, are you willing to do what it takes to position yourself for February's miracles? Are you willing to do it? We're only talking a very short period of time here. Drop a comment below and let me know. I read every single one, and I want to hear where you are on this journey. And if you found this valuable, make sure you're subscribed because I'm covering Edgar Cayce's March 2026 prediction coming up here shortly. And what he saw coming in March is the culmination of everything we've been building toward. Again, please subscribe, like, share, and go get all your free stuff in the description. Get into my email list, and let's get you on a pathway of awakening and that new era, that shift that's happening right now. You are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my beautiful light being friend. Namaste.